parts of the valley here, 9 o'clock this evening into 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then the southern part, so that's basically Fargo, Moorhead, and Point South, midnight, and again, sometime into tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow late forenoon. And then either side of that, we have winter weather advisory for still some light snow and blowing snow conditions, but not as intense as in the main valley corridor. So I will be going through a couple of things quickly just off this webpage and then going into a couple of slides. So first of all, you should now be seeing a radar image showing the current snow system that has come through northeastern North Dakota, now is in northwest Minnesota and working its way into central Minnesota here over the next few hours. So that radar image, if you look at that green blob and occasional yellow dots in there, you're seeing areas of light snow, and then with that some snow showers, and there's even a little bit of sleet mixing in there because we have some warm air aloft in there, which is partially melting and refreezing into droplets. And so that should be moving out of the forecast area here over the next couple of hours. So that is the first in a swing. So I've now switched to a satellite image and see if I've got it into the right place. So at the bottom central part of that satellite image is the current storm, if you will, that is effectively a warm frontal type phenomena that is moving through and across the area into northern and central Minnesota now. But if you were to follow up to the northwest or north central, basically the interface between Saskatchewan and Manitoba there, just off to the northwest of Lake Winnipeg, there is the next storm system, a circulation coming in there. That is the one that is going to come down into the Red River Valley here later this evening and through tomorrow morning. So that's a much colder and stronger force wind. So less snow associated with it, stronger winds, and of course then rapidly dropping temperatures with that. So that's where that is on the horizon. Just off our webpage again, if you were to go in there and click on a point up near Pembina, and you would also be able to pull up this on the side of that forecast that comes up the point and click area. And this is just detail for what would be coming into the Pembina area and when. So this is showing from the rest of this afternoon into tonight into tomorrow morning. You can see that Friday, February 11th, starting at midnight. So right now we have some light rain in there, a little bit of the green bars showing up on there, some light snow still occurring off and on through there. Not a lot of additional snow expected this evening and overnight, but again, just enough to refresh and coming in. But what you also see in here, if we look at the winds, is right now we have southerly winds that are going to go neutral here and then start turning out of the west and then out of the northwest this evening, so that by 8, 9 o'clock in Pembina, we're going to start seeing winds at 25 gusting to 40 plus miles an hour. And then as we get closer into midnight and beyond, up into the 30 mile an hour, gusting 45, 50 miles an hour or more. So again, any of the light snow that we've had over the last few days, some of that is still blowable, even though the warm temperatures will make it sticky and less likely to move, but those high winds will start to fragment that. And as the temperatures cool, make some of that movable. So again, expecting the blowing and drifting snow and a strong enough wind and enough additional snow that we could get blizzard conditions coming right down in the valley. I've got another graph like that just showing an area here closer between Crookston and Ada, and that's showing the timing a little bit later in the evening. Again, a little bit of light rain coming here still with this departing system, and that was what you were seeing with those yellow dots in that radar image before is perhaps some freezing rain or sleet parcels mixed in with the snow. And then again, a little more light snow as we get into midnight and early tomorrow morning coming in with the new shot. And there the winds are coming in, not as strong to begin with, but after midnight, especially down into the Ada area, you start seeing the winds starting to pick up more into the 1, 2, 3 o'clock time frame and increasing from there. So again, that's going to be the progression from north to south of this system. So now let me switch screens on you. Okay, so I've switched screens to these main message, and this is the packet that I just sent out to people on this email list, which talks about, there's the graphic that we had out even early this morning showing the general timing from 7 to 9 p.m. breaking across the Canadian border into the US and moving steadily down. So this is more of a cold front, more of an Arctic plunge starting to happen, and then down around midnight hour moving through Grand Forks, and then 2, 3 o'clock in the morning hitting in toward the South Dakota border. And again, we're going to have rapidly falling temperatures behind that front. So anything that's going to be thawing or melting here as we warm up here yet this afternoon will then be refreezing onto untreated surfaces. So sidewalks and roadways that would be untreated would become quite slippery again. And the winds will be gusting and indicating up a large area getting the 35, 40 mile an hour winds either side of the valley, and then down the valley corridor getting that stronger core 45 pushing 50 miles an hour right down the main corridor of the valley. Snow showers will accompany that. So again, a little bit of light snow that occurred earlier, along with additional snow, will bring those potential for whiteout conditions along with that cold frontal plunge. So that'll be right with that front, and then immediately following it that we'll have those strong winds. And that could be strong winds even into the morning drive time period. So 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and that snow occurring. So you'll see that the blizzard warning does go into effect until 9 a.m. on Friday, likely to be ending it sooner in the north, and we'll see how long we have to continue it into the south. But we'll see how much snow, again, occurs with that. And then the wind advisory or winter weather advisory on either side of that from tonight into tomorrow morning. Let's see if I can get slides to move forward now. There we go. So this is, again, just looking at the winds and the Goldie temperatures in there, and those are peak winds expected here generally during the late overnight hours, so midnight into the very early morning hours, and you're seeing some 50, 55, 56 mile an hour peak winds in there through that time period. That's going to be accompanying and producing those blizzard conditions with that frontal passage. Following that is when the cold air comes in. So we're expecting the rapid cooling throughout the day on Friday, so that by Friday afternoon, we're going to start seeing those wind chills into the minus 15 to minus 35 range, and then into even Friday evening. So you see up at the near the border, Grafton, Hallock, Langdon areas, wind chills into the minus 35 to minus 40 degree range sometime from the afternoon into the early evening. Eventually, those winds are going to start dropping off, but not soon enough to prevent cold wind chills. And so here's our confidence tally in there. You can see we expect the blowing snow, confident fairly high. We do have very strong winds, and we know that that snow is going to respond, even though it's somewhat sticky, and right now it's going to start cooling and probably fragmenting. We aren't expecting a lot of additional snowfall, so that's why the snow amounts is quite low. The confidence factor, the more snow, the longer the deep blizzard conditions will persist. And then with the wind, again, that's a high confidence. The wind is pretty much the slam dunk in there. And so you do the combination of the wind and the combination of the cooling temperatures and the combination of the blowing snow, and that's why travel impacts are expected to be high. So some other conditions in there, just to point out that these warm temperatures this afternoon may prevent some of the fresh snow on the ground from these last couple of days from blowing, at least early on. Once those stronger winds come in and the temperatures are cooling down, some of that may start to break loose and move as well. And here's the impacts just moving down through the area, Grand Forks into Fargo, Devil's Lake and Bemidji on each side, Baudette over in the corner. We see that Baudette is mainly dealing with some issues of snow, blowing snow early this evening, and that's with the snow that is fresh now and the initial winds coming in. They don't pick up much impact from the second shot, if you will, coming in later tonight and tomorrow, but it'll keep still some of the impacts going with the much larger amount of fresh snow that's occurred both there and in Bemidji. Grand Forks, again, it's going to be primarily and down into Fargo tonight into tomorrow morning, and Devil's Lake, and it's going to be wind-driven events primarily. So Bemidji and Baudette more with the snow and additional blowing and drifting from that fresh snow today into tonight. Grand Forks, Fargo, and even Devil's Lake is more with this secondary shout of wind. Again, our webpage where you can find more information. Just make sure that people are aware to prepare for travel, be aware of the road condition reports out there, and make sure that they're packed and ready for this if they have to go out. As far as that middle of the night period, we're recommending no travel for most of that period, but it'll depend. We'll have to see how that snow comes in. So thank you, and we'll cut over.